Hello everyone. Good evening from Inspiring Bangladesh. আজকে আমাদের শেষ সেশন, the closing session of Bangladesh Youth Skill Fest, celebration of WYSD World Youth Skills Day. এবং আজকে আমাদের ক্লোজিং সেশনটা খুব গুরুত্বপূর্ণ হবে। অনেক গেস্ট আছে যারা বিভিন্ন সেক্টর থেকে আজকে আমাদের সাথে যুক্ত হচ্ছে, এবং দেরি না করে আমি একে একে সবাইকে ইন্ট্রোডিউস করে নিচ্ছি আমাদের প্যানেলে। ফার্স্ট ইন্ট্রোডিউস করছি Dave Dowland, Registrar from BRAC University. Hello, Dave. How are you? And welcome to our session.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Then I'm introducing Professor Dr. Abdul Hannan Chowdhury from North South University. Hello, sir. How are you?
Thank you, Fahad, for inviting me. I'm fine. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, sir. And next I'm introducing and welcoming Mr. Quazi M Ahmed, President of BOLD. BOLD is one of our strategic partner of this Bangladesh Youth Skills Fest. Welcome, Quazi sir. How are you?
Fine. Thank you so much. Glad to see you all. As I said before, Dave, we met long time back, just pre-pandemic.
That's right.
Right. Thank you. Next time we're inviting Ms. Zara Mahbub, the country director and CEO of KITC Limited. Hello, Zara Apu. How are you? I guess you're mute. Yeah. Okay. Next time inviting Barrister Hamidul Mishbah.
Thank you, Matt. For that.
Thank you. Barrister ABM Hamidul Mishbah, founder Bangladesh Intellectual Property Forum and managing partner of Old Dailies Chambers. Welcome, Mishbah Bhai, in our closing ceremony.
Thank you, Imran. Thank you for having me here, and hello to everyone. Hope everyone is here.
Right. Next time inviting Mr. Dr. M. Mamun Al Bashir, Assistant Professor in Supply Chain Management and Digitalization, Hull University Business School, University of Hull. Hello, I hope you are listening to me, Dr. Mamun.
Yes, Imran Bhai, thank you so much for inviting.
Mute. Right.
Can you?
Thank you, everyone. Yes, we can hear you properly. So we will conduct this session in both Bangla and English, as our audience is maximum are from Bangladesh, and the rest of them are from different part of the world. So I'm welcome you everyone in our closing session. The topic is very interesting. Expectations from youth. Mr. Quazi M Ahmed, regarding what's your observation right now in new normal as we are sitting at home? What our youth are facing right now in terms of, de-skilling themselves in the new normal? Over to you, Quazi sir.
Thank you. I didn't know that I would speak first, which is good in a way. Thank you for having me and the colleagues here on this studio. First, I would say the new normal, the word itself, it's not new in the sense that even after World War I, they said new normal. Then at different stages in history, maybe the latest one was, 9/11, post 9/11, and the new normal security and all those things. Apparently, there is even a movie. What's his name? I think his name is Peniola Olatoni, a Nigerian filmmaker, made a movie out of new normal. So anyway, that's the intro kind of thing. I would say I have worked with so many clients during the pandemic, pre-pandemic, I should say, and then when the pandemic started, and organizations where young people are in large numbers, let's say, and suddenly they felt they're not ready. Or for that matter, the company, the organization did not do anything to engage them, or the technologies they did not practice, they did not train. For example, they were not digitally, young people are digitally advanced anyway, in whether it's WhatsApp, but people are not familiar with Google Meet or Zoom or video conferencing sites. Okay, maybe personally they were talking. I think the interesting thing happened is young people initially re-skilled the seniors. That's what I
Right.
saw first. That was amazing.
Right.
But then soon it was clear that managers, leaders, they had better take on a engaging role as because sales has to be done. People need to deliver some brick and mortar stuff too later, but at least team needs to be together. So whether my work with a German NGO or ILO or where Zara was there in the top management, BBL, I can list many, including what's this called, the largest tea manufacturing company. Anyway, Ispani Group. All of them were saying how to build teams like online, and people come. They don't. When we're face to face, we actually see each other and it looks good. But online, they're awkward. So we had to do a lot of work. So finally, I would say, I'm sure I'll come back again. But what I want to say is that the emotional intelligence part, the video conference etiquette part, these were missing. And as a result, company was suffering. But I think after 1 year now, people are adaptable and resilient. So I guess these are the skills we need more and more. I want to stop here and then probably I'll come back with more later.
All right, thank you, sir. And now I'll go back to Mr. Dave Dowland from BRAC University. As we know, like we're sitting at home, all the school, college, universities are shut down. So, what are the strategies that BRAC University is implementing to utilizing their students' time properly, sitting at home? And what's your take on that?
Yes, I mean, the phrase shut down is one I think we would have to challenge, because this university and many universities have been open online. And I think that's really what you're saying essentially, that it's true that we're at home, but actually this university has been vigorously active ever since the start of the pandemic. It went online quickly. I think some of the leading private universities in Bangladesh have an important contribution to make, actually, to helping to take higher education forward. We've been learning a lot over the year about how to interact online, and teaching staff along with students have been learning to reassess their approaches to teaching, building on some of the things that Quazi was saying just now. We've also been learning a lot about how to support each other, the emotional and personal, and even the financial support that are needed to help students get through the crisis that has been going on. But one of the things I'd also like to say, again, to some extent in reinforcement of what Quazi was saying, is that if we think about historical continuities, there have been so many examples of crises in the past, and all this talk of the new normal, we can actually see that fundamentally the qualities and skills that are needed post-pandemic are very similar to those that were needed beforehand, except that there is a greater emphasis on technology, digital skills, and to some extent even an international outlook as well. And I think, along with the very considerable good practice that's going on in many universities, that one of the major challenges I think that I would want to highlight really is the need for reform of higher education generally across the country. There is a government agenda for reform, and private and public universities need to interact and to benefit from each other in the ecology of higher education in Bangladesh. There was a big problem of graduate unemployment before we went into the pandemic, and that continues. It's accentuated to some extent, and we have to think about how can we develop a most effective model of education, developing critical thinking skills and resourcefulness and so on for our students. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, very well said, Mr. Dave Dowland. And now we will go back to Professor Abdul Hannan Chowdhury, the Dean of SB of the biggest প্রাইভেট ইউনিভার্সিটি ইন বাংলাদেশ, নর্থ সাউথ ইউনিভার্সিটি। স্যার, আপনি কিভাবে এই ব্যাপারটাকে এখন দেখছেন, যে লাইক হাউ উই ক্যান রিস্কিল আওয়ার স্টুডেন্টস রাইট নাও, অ্যাজ Dave was pretty much concerned about reskilling them sitting at new normal. So what will be your expectation from youth in post pandemic era? আপনি কিভাবে এটাকে দেখছেন স্যার? স্যার আপনি মিউট আছেন।
Thank you, Fahad, for inviting me. As you know that we are observing the World Youth Skill Day, and one of the prime theme of this time that reimagining the youth skills amid pandemic. And my earlier two speakers have already emphasis on during pandemic what is our experience. We have seen that we all are virtually living in a world that we are remotely communicating and functioning from the education and institution point of view. An institution like North South, virtually we are giving services towards our students from distance. Anything that we do from distance. So what is the ground reality? That this pandemic has actually taught us one thing, that after the post-pandemic, that we will have no chance to going back to the prior world. We must try to acknowledge that we are entering into a new era, and we also agree on that we are living in an era of fourth industrial revolution time, and pandemic has occurred. So the transformation that we truly want in our young people or young students and young graduates, that they have to be, first of all, their adaptability of handling the situation, and in this crisis period is something very important for all of us, which in Bangladesh, not only Bangladesh, across the world, the academic institutions have been able to deliver their services, and we have been able to show that all sort of academic learnings, dissemination, knowledge dissemination is a possibility through distance. The question is that after pandemic, what sort of skills that are truly very important for the young generation, those who are going to enter into the job market. That is what is very important. Even that this time UNESCO has even given a heavy emphasis on technical and vocational education and training. These sort of things are, I would say that in my view, is very important. Even in a country like Bangladesh, when Kaji and other people are trying to train people, those who are already working in the corporations and industries and businesses, that means they are clearly observing there are gaps that we are producing from the academic institutions. These graduates are not meeting the requirement and needs of the current demand of the industries, businesses, and corporations. So clear gaps have already been identified, and we must try to bridge the connections between the academia and industry and corporations. And I would say that pandemic has taught us that things very rightly, that many of our young entrepreneurs have been able to show that things, that in a country like Bangladesh, how Fahad, you have seen that how e-commerce have been able to demonstrate their ability in a country like Bangladesh. All these young entrepreneurs and young people have been able to devise businesses and services in a way that we have been able to at least keep our services active. The question is it something that we are getting across the country with all the students, those who are under the education umbrella? We are not yet there. Bangladesh government has already introduced many vocational institutions, but unfortunately yet these institutions could not give the proper knowledge and skill base that are truly required for the current time. That's why Dave was trying to say, from the point of view of some private universities like BRAC and North South and other institutions have been able to give, or trying to give, at least sort of education and knowledge and skills that are truly very pertinent in this period of time. But I would say, being a teacher, I have been actually in the academia for a long time. 33 years, I think Bangladesh as a country yet way too far, giving the sort of knowledge that are truly very important. We must try to acknowledge the young body needs, technical knowledge. When we talk about skills, we are always talking about communication skills, leadership skills, other sort of skills. But beyond that, some sort of technical skills, data analytics part that the students are going to be able to handle, even in a minimum fashion, to handle the technology part in a company environment, in a work life. This is something very important and essential. And we have to incorporate those things in education system, which we could not do yet in Bangladesh. So my point is that, well, in this day when, World Youth Skills Day that we are observing, we must try to focus on one thing, that in any way in our education system, we have to incorporate all sort of skills-based education and trying to relate our classroom education with sort of giving technical and skill part, so that these ingredients are going to go towards the young generation of the student, so that they can transform and eventually be able to help the industry and corporations. Otherwise, the world is advancing, and we being as a Bangladeshi citizen, we are assuming that the country is going to progress, but this country is never going to be able to go at par with the global advancement of technologies, because technology has converged. Now, graduates, no matter what discipline they are actually pursuing, all these graduates truly need, in my view, a sort of understanding of the basic level of technological part, so then they can actually blend their ideas and contribute in any field. It can be even if a simple liberal arts course that a student can pursue, but she has to have an adaptability of new technology, basic knowledge about some sort of technology that are truly very relevant for any jobs or any employment sector. That is what I would say that is very important at this moment. Fahad, we cannot hear you, Fahad. You're
mute now. Yes, I guess I'm audible now. So thank you, sir, for your opening remarks, and we easily relate this fact right now, sitting at home, the importance of it. Now I will go to Mishbah Bhai, as he is observing this new normal in his own way. So Mishbah Bhai, what's your expectation from our youth, those who are watching right now live and those who will watch after this? What will be your expectation from them? And you can give a brief on this matter. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Fahad, for having me here. And I would like to congratulate Inspiring Bangladesh for arranging this 2-day long conference. Now, first of all, what I would like to say for the youth, that see, the pandemic has happened and we never knew that what is going to happen until it happened. And then it actually was a real, maybe in the negative sense to some people, but it actually created a disruption, not only in one of the part of the world, but everywhere in the world. So, and everything happened very quickly. New normal, working from home, being adaptive, and all these, whatever we say. The first thing I would say, the youth actually is very important that we remain innovative or try to become innovative. So if we are innovative, that means we'll have open mind to embrace changes within life, within work, and also within the society. And when we are innovative, we'll be able to think out of the box, and that will also require some kind of skill to be a quick learner. So, all these in combination actually will give us the scope and room, and also prepare us as a person, the promising youth that we have in our country, to address the adversity that we've been actually going through over the last 1.5 years. So that would be my 2 cents.
ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ মিসবা ভাই। নাও আমি একজনকে ইনভাইট করছি, আমাদের গেস্ট আশিক আহমেদ। হি ইজ দ্য ফাউন্ডার এন্ড সিইও অফ ফার্স্ট কমিউনিকেশন লিমিটেড, দ্য ডিরেক্টর অফ ইউনিয়ন ব্যাংক। ওয়েলকাম আশিক ভাই ইন আওয়ার প্যানেল, এন্ড ইটস এ প্লেজার টু হ্যাভ ইউ অন বোর্ড হিয়ার। সো আমি আপনার কাছে আসবো একটু পরে। আমি চলে যাচ্ছি জারা আপুর কাছে। যে আমাদের আমাদের এখনকার একটা যে বড় এক্সপেকটেশন আমাদের ইউথের থেকে, যে চাকরি খোঁজা, আর যারা রিক্রুটার, যেমন আপনারা প্রত্যেক সময় রিক্রুট করেন, সো এক্সপেকটেশন ভার্সেস রিয়ালিটির মধ্যে কিন্তু একটা বড় পার্থক্য দেখতে পাই। যারা রিক্রুট করে তারা বলে যে আমরা ওই ধরনের স্কিলড ইউথ পাচ্ছি না, আর যারা চাকরি খুঁজছে তারা বলছে যে আমাদের জন্য চাকরি নাই। সো এটার মানে এটার সিক্রেটটা কি, মানে এটার গ্যাপটা, বা এটার এই ব্যাপারে আপনি কি চিন্তা করছেন অ্যাজ আ রিক্রুটার্স পয়েন্ট অফ ভিউ, যদি আপনি একটু আমাকে বলেন।
Thank you so much, Imran. Sorry, I was on mute when Imran introduced me earlier. So, very good evening to everybody. Thank you so much for having me with this wonderful panel of speakers. Congratulations on this event, Imran. And a very pertinent question that you asked me is, how do we minimize the gap of expectation between corporate from the academia, or the gap that is there when we're going out to recruit versus the candidates that we're receiving. So when I put out an advertisement, I get about 10,000 job applicants for a simple analyst role. Let me share with you, I come from the business process outsourcing industry, where we hire absolutely specialization agnostic people. I have people majoring in geography, literature, English, physics, computer science, BBAs. We have all across the board in our company, all right? Because our work is not specialized. It's specialization agnostic, as I said. So when I try to get people in, I need people who are willing to work night shifts, 5 days a week, and give it their best shot. I need people who are willing to learn English, who are willing to develop themselves. We give about 12 to 18 audiobooks a year per individual to just develop their skills. We have people running away and saying, oh my God, this is way too much pressure. I would think that they are already used to the pressure from university for the past 4 years. And this is another developmental exercise for them. But no, they get a little fearful. So what we need specifically, if you look at the skills matrix, is we need digital skills. We already have digital skills. The new normal has just forced the fourth industrial revolution on us. We're in the middle of it. It's not as if we have to, gradually, there'll be an opening ceremony, here is 4IR, welcome. No, smack that, COVID made it happen. So the digital skills is something we had to learn overnight. Functional expertise, core skills, as Professor Hannan said. Let's say not just for the BPO industry, for the ICT industry, for any other industry, you need to have a thorough specialization in whatever subject you're majoring in. Know it well. Then we come to general skills, analytical skills, the ability to think laterally. I've come from the banking industry. Prior to that, I was in the ICT industry. Prior to that, I was in the ready-made garment industry. Nothing is rocket science. All skills are transferable as long as we're able to analyze and think laterally. The other is, in order for us to do well, we need interpersonal skills, we need communication skills. And on top of that, if you have a dash of leadership abilities, you're set. So why is it that we have that gap? Where is it that we're suffering? Is it academia? Is it the corporate? We're expecting too much. We really need to minimize that gap, and we need to start working on developing candidates so that they can just hit the ground running. They don't have to feel like a foreigner or an alien when they come into the corporate world. They come in thinking that, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Well, you had a great education from North South or BRAC or IB or whichever good institution you want to mention. Why do you have that fear? So this is where our talks need to be a little more. We need to start having those value-added internships where they just don't go in and do photocopies, where they just don't run around as file or errand boys. They have to come in and start adding value right while they're in the university. And for us in the
Right.
corporate sector, it's really something we want. I'm sorry, I'm taking a minute more. Is I want these boys to come in. I'm getting boys and girls at 5 or 10,000 taka a month for internship. If I can train them for 3 months, and then I'm happy to take them on. But it's that attitude that is missing. Night shift, oh my
Exactly.
God, that's tough. I'm not willing to come and try it out. I have a lesser paying day job. It's much easier. That's where we're struggling.
Amazing, amazing. Coming to the point of like the attitude, and we have seen the extracurricular activities can play a big role to uh, to to skill up students in the academic life. We have seen in
Mhm.
our North South University in those days, like the extracurricular activities can create a huge impact the life we are leading it right now. So my specific question to Dr. Mamoon, like as we belongs to the same university, how important the extracurricular activities can play to any individual's life to reskill or skilling up them for the future, like workplace or like their future work. What's your take on this?
Thank you, Fahad Bhai. Thank you for inviting me. Um, First of all, just I would like to go back to what Zara Apu and Professor Hannan said, regarding, um, this internship issue, like attitude and other things.
Right.
Nowadays, sometimes I feel a bit, frustrated to see that, young generation, their attitude is quite different compared to what we used to have 10 years before. Now, there are a lot of issues. I mean, of course, nowadays they're in pandemic, they're working from home, they're feeling a lot of mental pressures and other things. That is fine. But on the other hand, I mean, probably universities and of course the businesses, we should also focus on one particular fact that our young generation, we need to have some sort of support in terms of mental abilities, in terms of I would say emotional intelligence. That is something that we are missing at this moment. Now, before coming back to your question, another issue is that today we have the register of BRAC University. I used to work for BRAC University in 2017 and 18, when Dev was not there. Probably he was there in the UK at that time. So now I'm working in the UK. Now he's working there, and Professor Hannan is also here. Just I have one issue. The internship sort of thing that we have in the universities, that is only 3 months, 4 months sort of thing. I mean, Dev knows that in UK we have a something called when you are working placement year, you can work for a year in a particular business, and then you get the knowledge, the expertise, and come back to university finishing your final year. That is something really helpful. I mean, I don't know why in our curriculums and in our system still this is missing. Probably something we can look at, if we can do something like this in the future. And coming back to your question, Imran Bhai, I would say, um, there was some sort of myth that the students who were involved in extracurricular activities, they cannot do good results, or they go into certain sort of jobs. But now if you see the examples, there are a lot of people in the society who has actually gone for extracurricular activities, has been successful there, and it tremendously helped in their jobs. Not only like it's an academic job, or it's a corporate job, even it's a business. I will just give you an example. One of my students today made me buy Korbanir Guru in online. So I see his skills. He was my student at East West University, and he had a tremendous farm now, his big farm in Dhaka city, and they are selling cows online. And they made me, assured that yes, you will not be losing money if you buy it from us, and they're going to home deliver it. It's a total online process. I've paid it from here. I've transferred my money from here. They got it, and they send me the videos and everything, and the cow is going to reach my house probably 2 days after. So you see, young people are doing it. This guy, if you look back to this guy, the example I've given, he was a good he was very good in extracurricular activities, and now he's very successful, and a lot of people knows him. I mean probably Imran bhai also knows him. So so the thing is that I'm giving you example, like in your business, you go for academia. I have been involved in extracurricular activities. I was president of North South University's biggest business club, and I came to academia as well. So it's not something that if you involved in this, it's gonna hamper your studies. Rather, it will help you to gain what you want in future. Thank you so much, Imran bhai.
Right, right. Very well said. Now I'll go back to Mr. Ashiq Ahmed. Like he is closely working with different youth group. I mean different startups. He's mentoring them, and like he's an angel investor kind of person in Bangladesh. So, Ashiq bhai, what you are seeing it right now amongst youth when it comes to relying on them in terms of investing on their dream. What's your take on this, and what are the key points you are observing when it comes to deal with them? So yeah.
Thank you, Imran Bhai. Thank you to Inspiring Bangladesh for organizing such a beautiful program. Hello to Zara Apu and Dr. Hannan sir. I've met you two a few times. I met Zara Apu during TED Talk, and Dr. Hannan sir is actually very close to my family as well. My mother is a teacher at North South University, so they work together. So so I tell the youth that there's very few things that we can actually control. We cannot control the pandemic. We cannot control what happens to us. So we've heard it before, right? Life is not what happens to you. Life is how you react to it, right? We've all heard it before. So there's very few things we can control. What can we control? We can control our thoughts. We can control our discipline. We can control our attitude. Zara Apu talked about attitude earlier. We can control our actions, our motivation, and how we spend our time. And we have a lot of time. Thanks to this pandemic, we have more time than we have ever had before. There is no commuting to work. We don't get stuck in traffic anymore. We're working from home. Most of us are working from home. So how are you using that time? Are you using that time to develop yourself, or are you using that time to worry, right? We have a lot of fear going on, right? A lot of young people, they cannot find jobs. A lot of startup entrepreneurs, their businesses are failing. Even like people who have established businesses, their businesses are failing. We've been in business for the last 10, 15 years. Our businesses are struggling. So people with established businesses are struggling. So of course the startups are struggling even more. And there's two definitions for fear, right? Fear can stand for, forget everything and run, or it can stand for face everything and rise. So are you going to forget everything and run, or are you going to face everything and rise? And nobody can beat you if you don't give up. That's the thing, right? Nobody can ever beat you if you don't give up. And Charles Darwin said this like 200 years ago, the father of evolution, that it is not the strongest or the wisest of the species that survive, but it is the one that is most adaptable to change. So we must always be adaptable to change. And Zara Apu is a perfect example for that, because she has changed industries many times, right? So you could start off in banking, and you could go into IT, you could go into something else. So you can always learn new skills and develop yourself, and you should be able to challenge and change with the circumstance, right? You cannot be stuck in a fixed mindset, right? You must, and if you Google it, there's two kinds of mindsets, right? We have the fixed mindset and we have the growth mindset. So the growth mindset are people who are adaptable to change, they welcome change, and they can face everything and rise. The fixed mindset people are there, they're just, if they see a roadblock, they sort of give up. So nobody can beat you if you don't give up, and you have a lot of free time. So read books, not just business books. Read books that you enjoy. One book that I would recommend all youth to read, I read it myself, is a book written by Dale Carnegie in 1937, like 100 years ago, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's one of my favorite books. I've learned more in that book than I've learned in some courses. So, before I end my introduction, Winston Churchill, I want to share a quote from him. He said, "Success is moving from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm," right? You cannot lose your enthusiasm. A lot of startup people, right? The most successful business people that we see, whether you talk about Amazon and Facebook and Microsoft, for a lot of these people, this were not their first business. They've had other businesses before, right? They've had like 9 or 10 failed businesses. The 11th business, somehow they clicked and they made it work. So nobody can beat you if you don't give up, and you must be willing to change and just audit your day. I come from an accounting background, so I used to be an auditor for PwC in San Francisco. So audit your day, audit your time. How are you spending your time? What do you do when you wake up? What do you do before you go into bed, right? We have 24 hours in a day. Everybody has 24 hours in a day, regardless of socioeconomic background, regardless. We might have different bank balances, you know, in our bank, but we don't have different time. Everybody has 24 hours a day. Nobody has less, nobody has more. Like, you cannot have 26 hours. You cannot buy 2 more hours, right? I'll give you $1 billion. Can you give me 2 more hours? You can't. So audit your day, see how you spend your time, and there you and if you look at a person's day, you will know that if he's, you know, moving forward or moving back.
Right. Very well said, Ashiq bhai. With this note, we will take a short break. And those who are watching, please share this live with your audience, with your friends, and trust me, the next part of this session, you will love it. You will enjoy more, and you will learn so many things from this session. So please share. We'll come just right after a short break.
ভাই কখন আইবো বুঝছো আসসালামু আলাইকুম ভাই আরে দুলা ভাই দেখি আপা দুলা ভাই আসছে লক্ষ্মী সোনা আমার
দুলা ভাই
কান্দে পড়িয়া জমাই কান্দে রে কান্দে রে কান্দে রে
অল্প আলোয় বসবাস হবে এমন সর্বনাশ, তাই ঘরে আনুন সঠিক লুমেন, পরিবেশ বান্ধব আর বিদ্যুৎ সাশ্রয়ী হালিমা LED বাল্ব। হালিমা ইলেকট্রনিক্স, আলোয় আলো।
Yes, we are back. We will start our next part of this session, the last part, the concluding part. We'll start with Quazi M Ahmed, like, as he is dealing with so many youth, large number of youth in everyday's life, and I'm one of his biggest fan. So, sir, what's your take? What will be your expectation, and what are the suggestions that you are always give to the students or like the youth, those who are come across in recent days? So, your guideline to them, and very briefly, sir. I guess you're mute.
This is everybody. I use so much technology and yet it remains unmute. I am sorry. So anyway, I think many of you in this room know that I spent time in academia. I have this dubious distinction of being the first official full-time lecturer of North-South University. I proudly say it, because before that there were foreign faculties or senior faculties from Dhaka University and elsewhere. They're all part-time, but I was so after 7.5 years of teaching there, in between at IDA for some time, even at BUET, there's this department called IPE, Industrial and Production Engineering. They had business courses, so I was lucky enough to teach in one semester. Why I'm setting the background is this: I've had my fair share of interacting with the young people, and I was relatively young also. I don't know, Zara will be able to tell, when she was studying abroad, she came to NSU because probably her father had a health challenge, and she was running the business. And I was looking at her and say, gosh, she's smarter than I am, and I'm the teacher, but her English is better. Okay, let's not compare. So anyway, I love to talk like this. So all I'm trying to say is, I saw students like Zara, and also, of course, I saw students who were struggling. But I wanted to make a difference, and Dr. Hannan and others would know, but although he came much later. So coming to your question, when I now, for the last 15 years, work in the industry, as recently as last month, I was recruiting MTOs for UCB, they're called UCB, the brokerage firm, Stock Brokers Limited. So single-handedly, I was given the responsibility to in the hiring job, and in the interview, they were there, of course, but I was there as well. So what I saw, how from so many applicants who got hired, and what my experience is when I go into an organization and do training program, CEOs, directors, everybody say a few things, and those few things I'm going to tell, and see those who are in organization whether it matches or not. I think it's Mr. Ashiq who said the growth mindset. And okay, these terms the companies may not know, but they say, why we think your brain is supple, its plasticity is there. Why can't you be a sponge? You learn. This is the number one. You should be able to learn. You learn so many other things quickly, but when it comes to our business model, why does it so long for you to pick up or adapt, learn, and so on? The second one is, I often hear this, Qazi bhai, you know, they're excellent people, they know a lot, but I don't see ownership in them. I jokingly say, oh, did you offer them stock ownership? I said, no. I mean, when the way our the University Hall faculty member, I forgot his name, he said that during their time, they wouldn't look at money, they would look at the watch, but they would get things done and leave. Or they would be, have critical thinking, they would challenge. But I'm not talking about the best of the best, but so many others cannot show the ownership. These two things, learn fast, grow, and then own, because, let me take 30 more seconds. When in my training, I say, you may leave. Nobody works in the same organization. You don't have to. But what if you do your best and see what the company does to you, the organization does to you? Do they give you increment? They take you to the next level? But they say, no, I will not have much progress in this company. I said, that's the reason you will work harder, because then you have to move to the next company unless they give you the opportunity. Often organizations value them. So these are the two prominent areas that I see tremendously lacking. Fast learning, growing with enthusiasm, even fake your passion if necessary. Find a purpose, link with your purpose. If I get the money, I'll pay bills. My mother will be able to, I will be able to pay the hospital bill. You name it. Create a purpose, practical purpose or higher purpose. Service is everything. If you don't serve, you don't even become a brand in your organization. I get to tell them these things. Some agree, some say, Mr. Qazi is oldie, goldie. Oh, he doesn't know. We don't stay in an organization more than 1 year. Let's see. Oh, my classmates, where are they? How are they doing? Oh my God, comparison. Those are the challenges also. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, sir, for your amazing thoughts. Now I'll go to Mr. Dave Dowland about his thought, about his idea and his advice to our youth, those who are watching it. What will be your advice regarding the expectation from our youth in this new normal? Yeah.
Well, I can appreciate the sense of stress that many students have when they see the challenges of getting started in an employment market. But one of the things that strikes me is that, well, it's been a pleasure traveling around Bangladesh and meeting so many thousands of young people who are already showing so much initiative. And I'll give you one or two examples. So they're tending to see opportunities where some of their contemporaries tend to see constraints. I was in Chittagong some weeks ago, and I met a young group called, they've set themselves up as the Hope Foundation. And there are lots of Hope Foundations in Bangladesh, but this particular group, they're 250 young people who clumped together. They didn't wait for anyone to give them permission. They thought, let's get involved in social entrepreneurial projects. They're running a school for disadvantaged young people. They're working on so many social problems and issues. They've got professional mentorship. from local universities and businesses. And they're enjoying themselves doing all this work, and they're gaining those elusive leadership qualities, the ability to work on projects and in teams. And they're almost not realizing they're doing it because they're enjoying themselves so much. And interestingly, those young people are also developing their business interests as well. So we can see the link between social entrepreneurship and commercial business. So I think one of the things that I would say to young people is not to overlook the opportunities that there are to get involved in society in various ways, to work on real world social problems or business issues. And you may be surprised at the competitive and marketing advantage you get. Just one other thing I think I'm very conscious of with students, it's about the power of habit. You know, we know our brains, Quazi was talking about how subtle our brains are, but how easy it is for us to atrophy them if we start developing the wrong habits. And I remember working in a business school, for instance, in London, where there was an insistence that students should come in business suits. They should already behave as if they were working in business. And as our colleague said, also, well, that was a business school where you could go on work placements, you could get apprenticeships. It wasn't just internships. But the whole point was that you were already developing the habits of life that you would need when you went into business. And then there wasn't the sense of shock or strain that you were artificially having to develop those qualities to be able to work with some resilience through the week. You were used to it already. That's another thing I think that perhaps in higher education institutions and other types of education institutions we have to help our students to develop. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Dave, for your wonderful thoughts. Now I'll go back to Hannan sir. Like sir inspired us from our student days, sir. So what will be your thought? After কি ধরনের advice থাকবে যারা এখন দেখছে, যারা পরবর্তীতে দেখবে, to reskill themselves and ওই যে গ্যাপটার কথা আমরা বলছিলাম expectation versus reality, এই গ্যাপটাকে minimize করার ক্ষেত্রে what will be your suggestion, sir?
Thank you, Fahad. You have started a beautiful discussion in my view, which is very important actually for all of us. One thing for the future generation of these youth bodies and young students has to understand that, well, the world is changing too fast. We all have to agree on it. Apart from the pandemic part, this is a world that we are living with 7.5 billion people. And every 25 years, another billion people are going to come. So the discussions that you have started today, this sort of discussions in terms of the skill requirement, it is going to be a continuous discussion even in the upcoming futures. You know why? Because there is going to be enormous problem are going to surround us in this planet, the planet that we all are entering into with enormous people in this planet. So the graduates that we are going to produce, the young bodies that we are going to send in the marketplace or even in the society and community, from the academic institutions point of view, being a teacher, I would not always expect that the corporations or industries are always going to expect that they are going to get a ready-made product for work environment. They're never going to get it. The world is changing so fast. The industry floor are changing so fast and quick because technology has converged. No matter what industry that you are talking about, it is going to be a fast changing world. So the human being, those who are going to survive in terms of creating impact in the society and community is the one all the panelists to some extent, raise that point, is adaptability or adaptive to change. Because it's going to be a continuous matter for all of us. So the future generation of the students and young bodies has to acknowledge that they are not going to see the same planet anymore. These planets are going to be heavily complex in many sense because of the convergence of technology. And that technology convergence has created so much opportunities for some people, those who are truly creative, innovative, and changing their mind and thoughts switching their businesses the way Zara was actually changing from one to another, because these are the challenge takers. They are actually switching on the basis of the time context, that this is something is important right now to enter into. That sort of mindset is very important. Now, if you expect that these sort of graduates that you are going to get from an institution, from the institutional point of view, no such institutions in the planet would be able to produce that kind of graduates who are going to be able to address all the future needs in the work life. So in one side, young body has to acknowledge, for them, the future is coming, which is going to be a jobless future. First of all, that is what something they have to agree on. And that's why we always try to say that, well, try to think about using your potential, your creativity, your innovativeness, and your challenge-taking mind that is going to put yourself to create sort of entrepreneurship and startups, a business model, or doing something on your own so that you can create your own employability, and to some extent, if it is possible, create jobs for other people. That is what is the future world. So if we do not agree on that point, how we are going to actually face that world? Country like Bangladesh, 65% of the people are below 35 years. It's a young country, and it is going to remain young for the next 30, 40 years. How could you create that many jobs for these young graduates when you are producing every year 1.2 million graduates from this country? These 1.2 million graduates are coming from diverse group of academic institutions, from public to private, to technological university to medical university. Then you talk about all other sort of government colleges, national university colleges, madrasa system, technical board. You see that, well, a big chunk of graduates are coming from wide variety disciplines of education stream. And no education streams are going to be able to prepare students in a way that these graduates are going to be able to to be compatible with the market demand. The best human being, those who are going to be challenge takers and always adaptive to change, and they have a mindset to learn new things, and every time, anytime, they're going to update themselves with new things that are happening. They have to understand that what is the future need, and if they are willing to go towards that direction, I'm sure that that potential is there for every single young graduates and young bodies. But our expectation is always that from the supply side, that academic institutions, especially the higher learning institutions, are going to prepare graduates in a way that they are going to be able to solve any problem that are actually incurring in the industry environment right away. It is not going to happen. So the person, those who are really, they are having a problem solving mind, those who are socially oriented, those who want to resolve social problems by giving or by contributing in a way that startups or entrepreneurship, problem solving mind will help them to absorb in the marketplace and to create job for other people. That's what is important, a mindset change and understanding the ground reality that world is actually changing, and this changing world we all have to be agree on that we are going to be adaptive.
অসাধারণ, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার, অসাধারণ বলেছেন আপনি। আমার লাস্ট কোয়েশ্চেনটা আপনাদের চারজনের জন্য, মিস্টার আশিক, প্রফেসর মামুন, মিসবাহ ভাই এন্ড জারাপুর জন্য, যে আমাদের দেশে যে ডেমোগ্রাফিক ডিভিডেন্টের মধ্যে দিয়ে যাচ্ছি, যেখানে শিক্ষিত বেকার নামে একটা সংখ্যাগরিষ্ঠ জেনারেশন ক্রিয়েট হচ্ছে, যে আমাদের দেশে যে শিক্ষিত বেকারের সংখ্যাটা বাড়ছে এবং আমাদের দেশে এক্সপেকটেশনের তুলনায় ওই জবের পরিমাণ কিন্তু কমছে। সো কি ধরনের স্কিল বা কি ধরনের বিষয় থাকলে তারা ওই যে জব বা যারা এমপ্লয়মেন্টের দিকে ঝুঁকছে তাদের জন্য এটা ভালো হতে পারে? কারণ আমরা তো সবাই উদ্যোক্তা হতে পারবো না, কারণ এন্টারপ্রেনারশিপ ইজ নট ফর অল। যারা চাকরি করতে চায়, যারা এমপ্লয়েড হতে চায়, এই শিক্ষিত বেকার সংখ্যাটার কমানোর জন্য আপনাদের কি সাজেশন? ফ্লোর ইজ ওপেন ফর 4 of you. আপনারা যদি একটু বলেন, স্টার্ট উইথ Zara Apu. Anyone can add their comments on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, because Dave is here, I'm answering in English, and also a major part of our audience is also in English, so I will not go back to Bangla. Yes, what will we do with the graduates who are out there who are looking for work? Not everybody is going to become an entrepreneur, like you just said. And not everybody is going to go out there and start their own business. As much as, for example, I would have loved to, but I've seen my father be a serial entrepreneur. I've seen my husband do it, go through the ups and downs, but I will never have the courage to become an entrepreneur. I will just stick to my 9 to 5, not 9 to 5, 9 to 9s or whatever you want to call it. So what is out there for people like us? As you all have already said, it's continuous upgradation. We have to think like the iOS platform or the Android platform. We have to update ourselves because what got us here is not going to get us there. And that is what we have to focus on. I have to continue to be updated, skilled, so that I'm ready for the next opportunity that's out there. Because when I started university in 1993, whatever skills I took on, those skills are not out there anymore. Of course, the fundamental skills are there. For an engineer or for somebody with a medical degree, their basic skills are always there. But we have had to adapt continuously. So I will just talk about basic skills like continuous learning, reskilling ourselves, going back to attitude of learning, the culture of continuous learning. I have a mother-in-law who is in her mid-70s. She's been a professor of English all her life, and she is now conducting worldwide conferences and teleconferences via Zoom and StreamYard. She's adapted. So if she can continuously adapt, there is no reason the graduates of today cannot find themselves skills that will make them employable. So to hone in and give you specific answers is you have to continuously keep your eyes and ears open around yourself and be at par with the jobs that are being offered. Be up to date with what technology is offering out there and what is being offered out there, and continuously focus on making yourself employable. Data is big out there, right? Big data, analytics, these are things that are here to stay. And this is what the world is going to move with. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, RPA. We talk about these big words, but what is the basis of all this? It's data. So, and analytics, core of finance will always be there.
Right.
The specializations will be there, medicine, engineering. So get those specializations under your belt. So I don't want to take more time, but most importantly, have the right attitude of continuous learning and just grab the bull by the horns. Get a night shift job. Come talk to me. If you think you can learn, we are out here to help you learn and get the make the world your oyster. So all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Zara Apu, for your thought. Mishbah bhai, your thought on this?
No, thank you, Imran. I would resonate to some extent quite a lot with Zara Appa and also Professor Hannan sir, and maybe rest of the panelists, including Dave. One thing we must actually continue to do is self-educate, and then watch and learn, keep our toes, always keep ourselves on our toes. Because since the world is changing very fast, and as you said, that the number of jobs that are being created every day or every year doesn't really match with the number of graduates that we are having from the universities. Now, what do we do to overcome this? One, in my view, if I may, until now, what we see that there is no national portal that could give us the statistics that how many jobs could create in 2022 and how many graduates we will be having from the universities and what would be the disciplines of those graduates. from which area of education they're coming, are they all engineers, how many numbers engineers, doctors, lawyers, or different other entrepreneurs, different other professions. So I think this is something we need to have, because this is something I actually have heard in different platforms, these questions. Now, the other thing is career counseling. I studied in UK and lived there for a long time. There we had one thing which I still do not find in the Bangladesh universities. Like, when we go to the next semester and the subjects that are available for in the next semesters, there is a definition, or there is a at least half-page introduction of the subjects, their courses that are going to be offered in the next semester. And they are in that half-page introduction. They also mention how, if you study this or take this course upon successful completion, how is going to help your career, or how is you are going to use this the knowledge you gain from this career. So this particular thing I've seen not being present in any of the universities that I've been involved with. I taught in a private university, media and law, for 3 years. I stopped teaching end of 2013. I don't teach anymore because I don't have time. But I still love going to different universities as a guest lecturer and talk about innovation and intellectual property law and technology law. These are my areas where I'm very passionate about. The other thing is being passionate. Stay passionate. Zara said, one thing, I'm just plugging in with her. What do we do? And how do we decide what we want to do? Because our parents will say something, friends will say something, society will say something. So what do we do? Where do you go? So one of the areas, or one of the things maybe we can do, our youth can do, do that where you have the passion for things that you have passion for. So that could actually lead you to somewhere which could actually can give you a big return in the long run, and very much put you in a position of leadership. So that's very important. And even for myself, I always followed my passion. And that actually helped me quite a lot in terms of my career, and not only career, before career is actually self-satisfaction. I've been into jobs, corporate jobs, that never gave me self-satisfaction. I was hugely demotivated. I used to come home demotivated, and I used to think, okay, I used to get good salary, very good environment, working environment, #1 employer in the Bangladesh, but I personally was demotivated because that was something maybe at times I found out, oh, this is not what I'm going to spend or waste, spend my rest of the life doing. So I found something that actually I was very passionate about. So I would actually invite all our youth, follow your passion. And I'm sure, because Imran, on a personal note, I've been actually watching all your shows since the beginning of 2020. So I see a huge and sheer level of passion from you. And there are a lot of youth who have converted their passion and brought it into their career, and they have reached the leadership, have been able to prove themselves as leaders and turn out as good leaders, not only for the society, but for the country too. So I'll stop here. And once again, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Bhai, for your kind words. Inshallah, we'll invite you again in our coming summits and fest. So go back to Dr. Mamoon, your thought on this. You're mute now, I guess.
Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, we can hear you.
Right. So we have discussed a lot of issue. One of the points that Professor Hannan said about the number of people that we have in this world, it's around 7+ billion people, and people are, I mean, it will be the world, population number is becoming large and large. So the thing is, there are a lot of issues that we youth we should think about. One thing that I think we are missing out in Bangladeshi universities, and as well as I would say most of the businesses, is the sustainability factor. I mean, we are all talking about COVID-19 and all other things, but we are forgetting something that's much bigger. is that global warming and other issues. So, even just only sustainability, environmental perspective, social perspective, even operational perspective, we, what I would say as a youth, if you are doing something, if you're trying to do something, even if you're a job, or even if you are in the, in a business, what do you think? You should be someone who should be I mean, your aims and your objectives should be sustainable, something that you can do for 10, 15 years in future. Because, a lot of time we rush into in some sort of businesses, or rush into some sort of jobs, and suddenly after a few years we realize that this is not something for us. So this is something that we need to think about from our perspective, that, well, something that I need to do for future, like at least 10, 15, 20 years, that I can be with this. And you have to have that skills. Make sure that you have those skills, that you are rushing into doing a business, or in a job. So that's something that we need to think about. And from the university perspective, I think this is a high time for us, that in Bangladesh we teach, or we promote sustainability issues throughout our programs, not only business schools, but also like engineering schools and others. Another issue is innovation management sort of thing, like thinking something from the innovative perspective. And should be this particular innovations and sustainability issues, this should be embedded in all the curriculums, not only like business schools or in engineering, throughout the courses that we teach in different universities, so that the student can think that, well, what is sustainability, how I can be my future plan can be sustainable, how my environmental around us can be sustainable, how my society can be more sustainable. These things should be embedded in our mind. And as a youth, I think we should, as I can see, Imran bhai, you are doing an excellent job. You're talking about inspiring Bangladesh, which is, I mean, I love your tagline, and something that you are doing. And you might really go for a really good high paid IT job. I know your skills, but you haven't gone there. Rather, you're doing something which you are passionate about, and which is something actually really helping the youth of today's generation. So thank you so much for inviting. And I would say that this has been a wonderful program, and I will keep an eye on that for the future as well.
Right, absolutely, and thanks for your kind words. And let's move into our next speaker, Ashiq bhai. Ashiq bhai, what's your thought on this? Very last thought regarding this expectations from
Thank
youth.
you. Thank you very much. So, as the other speakers have mentioned earlier, we have a lot of graduates and not enough jobs, right? There's not enough jobs right now. So, and there's also people who are genuinely unemployed, and there are some people that are like unemployed by choice. Now, let me elaborate on that, what I mean by that. Unemployed by choice, there's a lot of social stigma in our society, right? Those we have been in the US and the UK, we have graduates that can't find a job. They work in McDonald's, right? They work in Pizza Hut. They don't think that it's beneath them, right? Any work is work. But here, if you see a North South graduate working, oh, tumi Pizza Hut e kaj korba, their friends look down upon them. But I think we all need to realize that your first job is not going to be your dream job, right? The first job, you just need to get your foot in the door, and then you work your way up. Just because you start your career at Pizza Hut or Burger King doesn't mean you have to stay at Pizza Hut or Burger King, right? You can move on to PricewaterhouseCoopers and McKinsey and Company and other big four companies. And so that's the first thing you need to realize. The second thing you need to realize is take ownership in your position, whatever position that you're in. Take ownership in that. And if you're currently unemployed and looking for a job, this is what I suggest to you. In your home, make an office corner that you sit there every day at 9 o'clock. Like, don't wake up at 11:30. Oh, I can't find a job. Why can't you find a job? Oh, I applied to this place. When did you apply to this place? 3 months ago, 6 months ago. So what have you been doing for the last 6 months? Oh, I'm waiting for them to call me. Well, but what else have you been doing? Oh, nothing. I'm just waiting for them to call me. So what have you done today? Oh, I hung out with my friends. So every day, 9 to 5, make a desk, be at your desk, right? Send CVs, make contacts, call people you know that, oh, I just graduated from this place. I need to find work. Emphasize on your connections, send emails, read up on something. And there's some things that don't require any talent, right? Being on time, work ethic, effort, body language, energy, attitude, passion, doing extra. These don't require any special talent. And as employers, we all notice the employee who's at their desk every day, rain or shine, right? If office starts at 9 o'clock, some people, they're there at 8:55 with their laptops on, ready to go. And then there's the employees that walk in at 9:15 or 9:30, casually walking, oh, I'm just 15 minutes late. I'm all right. So we all know the difference, right? And as employers, we differentiate between the two. We appreciate the employee that's there on time, 8:55 a.m. They don't make excuses. Oh, I got stuck in traffic. This happened. My khala is sick. My mother is sick. I mean, we all know the excuses, right? So don't make excuses. No one is going to pick you up. You have to pick yourself up. I mean, this is not, and my grandfather used to tell me, right? The world is not a bed of roses. We've all heard it. The world is not a bed of roses. And it's going to keep knocking you down, right? It doesn't matter. I think it was Sylvester Stallone that said it in a movie. Life is going to keep knocking you down. It doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. What matters is how many times you get back up, right? Life is going to punch you in the face. It's going to kick you in the rear end. It's going to knock you down over and over and over again. And you just have to keep getting back up over and over again. You just can't stay down, right? If you see a boxing match, they count to 10. If you are down at 10 count, you're still down. And the guy that gets up at 9 and keeps fighting, he keeps getting up, right? So to emphasize on what I said in the beginning of my speech, that nothing and no one can ever beat you if you just don't stay down. I mean, you see people all the time, right? If you see online people who don't have arms, they lost their legs in an accident, but they're motivational speakers. They're doing something that they love. They don't make excuses. Oh, I don't have an arm. I don't have a leg. There are plenty of people like that, right? That are physically disabled, but they don't let their physical disability from achieving their dreams. So to just elaborate, get the job you can find. If you don't have a job in your home, create an office corner, sit there 9 to 5, send those emails. And if you want to meet your friends for coffee, meet your friends for coffee after 5. But 9 to 5, you should be working, whether you have a job or you don't have a job. Even if you don't have a job, work from your house. Thank you.
True. Excellent. Thank you, Ashiq bhai. And আমরা একবার শেষ পর্যায়ে চলে এসেছি। আমরা 1 ঘন্টা অলরেডি ক্রস করে ফেলেছি। ইট ওয়াজ অ্যান এক্সেলেন্ট সেশন। আমরা শেষ করব সবার 30 সেকেন্ডস একটা থট নিয়ে আর কি, about this summit, about this feeling, about the expectation, and what will be the key learning for our viewers, those who are watching it right now. We'll start with Quazi M Ahmed. Yeah, Quazi sir, your thought on 30 seconds.
Thank you, Imran. I think you built quite a bit of a social capital during these 2 days, because I saw I had some time this afternoon, Friday, and I went back to the inaugural program, and here and there, 5-10 minutes, I fast forwarded a few videos, and I'm very impressed. You had people from different walks of life, different industries, different professions, and different nationalities. So I guess my suggestion would be, for the benefit of the young, you can think of taking it to the next level. So I said enough, and one thought that keeps on coming, that young people I have seen, they're so creative. I don't know what you think. Sometimes I even go to TikTok. This negative thing people say, but I found 70% of TikToks being so creative. Young people are doing stuff. So I think only the energy we need to apply. And then what Dr. Ashiq said, I usually say, and that's the last thing I want to say, give yourself a job to get a job. Exactly, that's what was said here. Thank you. Give yourself a job until you get a job. Nobody can stop you from getting a job.
Thank you, sir. Dave, your thought on 30 seconds.
Well, in reinforcement of what everyone else has said, that it's an encouragement to students, to young people, not to underestimate the opportunities that they have for their own development. There may be far more opportunities out there than perhaps they think. I think the other thing is really a message for us in higher education, that nationally the higher education systems and our approaches really do need to change quite considerably over the next 10 years. There's a vital opportunity there. There is a higher education strategy that the government has, which touches on many of the right themes, and let's hope that that goes forward over the next decade. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, Dave. Zara, for your thought in 30 seconds.
So my thought is big congratulations to you first. Well done. And continue to inspire Bangladesh through Inspiring Bangladesh. We're all a part of it, happy to be a part of it. And my thought for everybody is, let's keep with the culture of learning, continuous learning. That is all that's going to, that's the solution that's going to help us adapt to each and every change that's inevitable. So let's keep learning.
Thank you, Zara.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mishbah bhai, your thought.
First of all, Imran, for the youths, I would urge them to keep an eye for Inspiring Bangladesh. And the next knock to come here and speak would be for them. And whatever we do, or the youths they do, I think please do try to give back to society. And when you try from your position to give back to society, that will actually open the scope for you to self-educate, self-employment too, even if you do not get a job. And now social media has opened so many, doors, giving us, allowing us the opportunity to give back to the society. We should make most of it, and many of us are making, making maybe most out of it. Too, and also we need to learn from them to see what difference we can make for our society and for our country. Once again, thank you, and all the best for your future shows and future endeavors. I would like to also thank and express my gratitude to the rest of the fellow esteemed panelists.
Thank you, Mr. Bhai. Professor Dr. Mamun.
Thank you, Imran Bhai. Just one thing, just one message is that wherever you are in this world, if you are a Bangladeshi, keep connection with the root. Take the example of Kishwar. We have seen what she has done in MasterChef Australia. I know one thing that even if you are, getting yourself in a different country or somewhere else, keep connected with the root. And I think Inspiring Bangladesh is a fabulous platform where like youths like us can be connected and can be sharing our inspiring journey throughout our life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Mamun. Ashiq bhai, your last thought.
Thank you, Imran Fahad Bhai. You could not have put on a better panel. This is just such a wonderful panel. And as I'm speaking, I'm learning myself. You could not have put on a better group of people together. You have people from all different sectors and different nationalities. So thank you to all the speakers. And it is my honor and privilege to be part of such a special forum. So my last thoughts is, the pandemic has taught us that things can change in a moment, right? We wake up one day, tomorrow everything is different. When the pandemic first started, everybody said, oh, this is going to last maybe 2 weeks. So we stay home for 2 weeks. No big deal. This 2 weeks is now 2 years, right? Everybody said, oh, we'll be fine the third week. Oh, we have 3 cases. Oh, we have 5 cases. We have 15 cases. And now we don't know when it's going to end. Everybody said, oh, when the vaccines come, it's going to end. Now the vaccines are here. It's still not ending. People vaccinated are still getting COVID. And now Pfizer in the States are saying everybody needs a third dose. They're saying after 6 months, you need another dose. I mean, so we actually don't know where it's going to end. So you have to keep evolving and keep learning. And my final thoughts are, be adaptable to change, 1, and 2, don't give up. No matter what happens, don't give up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashiq bhai. আমাদের শেষ বক্তা ডক্টর প্রফেসর হান্নান স্যার আপনার শেষ থট দিয়ে আমরা শেষ করব আজকের সামিট।
Thank you, Fahad. It has been an amazing session. I truly enjoyed the other speakers, contribution in the session. I must say that, Fahad, you have been doing great job from your platform in Inspiring Bangladesh. I know you from long since. You and Mamun has been my 2 hands actually at North South University, and I I'm so very blessed, and also see that, well, Mamoon has become now the assistant professor of a British university. You see that, well, how my students have been actually be able to be successful from even student club, taking some extra, things to do in campus. I have seen Fahad, you all have been doing great thing beyond the classroom education. I would like to say one thing to the future generation of these students: never ever expect that everything is going to be achievable from the academic institution, from your classroom. Knowledge is anywhere and everywhere. Try to get that knowledge, and do not at all try to count your success with money factor or having a job or not having a job. The way Ashiq was trying to mean that, well, spend your time, no matter you have a job or you do not have a job, spend your time pursuing your patients. And often the thing that we do not see with the young bodies, that they do not or simply cannot identify their patients. Find out your own patients. Once you are going to be able to figure out the patients that gives you a way to run or walk, you start walking there, and you will see that, well, no matter how bumpy or how difficult and how hurdle it is, once you are going to be able to make that bumpy road a smooth road, and you will see clearly lights behind the tunnel and behind the street. So never ever lose your confidence. And that is what is actually Inspiring Bangladesh is actually doing. They are trying to ignite young mind and giving them hope that, yes, you do have that potential. Rely on yourself. That education or having a good CGPA, good degree is not the matter. No matter what graduation or what degree you pursue, you are going to be a successful individual as long as you pursue your patients. So you run after that things and never ever give up. That is what is my ultimate message to all the young bodies, because you are the one who are going to be able to contribute not only in your family or in your society, in the bigger screen of the business platform and national, local, national, and also in the global platform. And it is very possible by anybody, any young minds. So let's get that hope. Okay. So that is what is my ultimate message for all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. And thank you everyone for your time. And inshallah, we'll invite all of you together in our upcoming sessions in coming days. And I would like to thank our patrons, our supporters, those who are helping us to make it possible. Our government, ICT division, LICT, Durbar project, North South University as our partner. We'd like to thank our partners in supporting this event: SATV, Halima Group, Bold, BDCom, Bruno Moretti, Cormo Jobs, Dhaka Resort, Mountain Clubs, Tours, and I would love to support our co-organizer. Without their support, it won't be possible to make this happen. Would like to thank Youth Hub, Startup Chattogram, JCI Dhaka West, BPWS, Bangladesh Positive Foundation, Big Ventures, and Freepreneurs. So with this note, we are concluding this session. Inshallah, we'll see everyone, and ততক্ষণ পর্যন্ত সবাই বাসায় থাকুন এবং স্বাস্থ্যবিধি মেনটেন করে চলুন, কারণ আমরা একটা খুব কঠিন সময়ের মধ্যে দিয়ে যাচ্ছি। এখানে সচেতনতাই হলো মূল আমাদের লক্ষ্য, যেটার থ্রুতে আমরা আসলে এই ডিফিকাল্ট সময়টা পার করতে পারি। আবার দেখা হবে ইনশাআল্লাহ। সবাই ভালো থাকবেন, সুস্থ থাকবেন। আসসালামু আলাইকুম।